All right, here we go. Happy Thursday. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. As always, no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, we greatly appreciate all of you for making today's show a part of your day. There are a lot of options out there to take in your Eagles content, but for all of you to be here, I am certainly very grateful for your support of the show as we continue to break records, grow our subscribers, and give you the best Eagles coverage right here on YouTube. Now, it is summertime, at least next Wednesday is the official start of summer, and I was thinking about this. Growing up in the Philly area, of course, I took a lot of trips to the Jersey Shore. I had a family house at Dewey Beach. But as I grew older, I started to go to Maine and vacation there right by the lake, and I went from being a beach guy to a lake guy for a couple of reasons. You don't have to worry about all the people on the beach. Sometimes you don't have to pay to be on the beach either. And I like the peace and serenity as well as the freedom to basically do whatever you want on the lake, whereas you don't really have that at the beach. And after seeing that shark attack in Egypt, yeah, I'm more of a lake guy now. So are you a beach person or a lake person? Let me know in the chat, B for beach or L for lake. We have Mr. Rax going beach, Greg Terrell Lake, Cool Rains Beach, Eagles Prod Beach, Billy the Birdman Bolden going B for beach, Ernesto Beach, and then Nick Stone, he says B for sure. I was beach for sure for a really long time, and then I kind of had a pivot. Navi San with the bunny and mushroom emoji in the username. Very interesting choice there. I like it. You taking some shrooms, B for beach. You could do shrooms at the beach or at the lake. Brandon Ford, Lake Ray Hubbard in Rockwall, Texas. Okay. My Dallas homie right there. Eagles Prod also in the house as well. Appreciate everybody for giving us that feedback here on the show. Eagles Prod said, bull sharks can swim into lakes. Well, that scares me, but not in Maine because it's a cold weather climate as well, and it's too cold for sharks to actually last when it comes winter time. Let's all laugh at the Dallas Cowboys together here, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Because today officially marks 10,000 days since the Dallas Cowboys won a Super Bowl. Can't say the same for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the lame argument from Cowboys fans will be, well, we have 5 Super Bowl championships and you only have 1. I'm going to go recency bias here, though. I think it's better to have more recent success as compared to having some of the success that happened in the mid to late 90s and 10,000 days ago, for that matter, for the Dallas Cowboys. So type F Dallas in the chat. Everybody get it going here. What's up, Tris? There you go. Nope. There you go. Nope. One more time. Nope. There you go. Nope. Trace, what the hell, man?
My mic is... Oh, there we
you
go. There we go. It was stuck. It was stuck. The mic was stuck. But I just want to put this out there. I have never seen the Cowboys make it past the second round of the playoffs in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Never seen it.
28 years?
Never seen it. I'm 24. Turned 25 in December. Never seen it. So.
Greg Terrell, F. Dallas, Roberto Garcia, because they suck. I wish continuous failures for the Cowgirls from Greg. Elijah Stovall. Ours is still shiny. Theirs is picking up a lot of dust. 10,000 days. Think about that. That's a long time. Now, 10,000 when I was growing up, the only number that I know that relates to Philadelphia sports for 10,000 is when the Philadelphia Phillies lost their 10,000th game, and that gave them the most losses in American professional sports history. So that was kind of dubious at the time, but the Cowboys, they still stink. Much more so than the Philadelphia Phillies. All right. Ask Pocket Aces a question. That's the new nickname for us. Chase, Trace, the Pocket Aces. You see what we did there? We're going to go with that moving forward. It's the Pocket Aces show here. A couple of ways for you to get involved. Use the hashtag Eagles. Better yet, Super Chat to get those questions featured on the show. And, of course, we do have a Super Chat menu for today as well as we continue to cook up entertaining, informative, insightful Eagles content right here on YouTube. You send us in a $5 super chat, we'll do a beer cheers. $10, the Eagles chant. $20, we'll pour up some shots. $50 for a beer bong. And $100, I will shotgun a beer. That right there is our super chat menu. You know what's crazy is that Will Scott was on Dolphins Today, They did over $1,000 in Super Chats on a random June 15th. I'm not asking us to get there, but we can at least make that a little bit reasonable as far as the competition goes. Anybody else watching the Phillies from Decatur? Yes, I was watching them, keeping track of that game today. I was watching them last night as well. Bryce Harper giving them that 5-4 lead. Aaron Nola continues to be a massive disappointment for the Philadelphia Phillies. All right, here's what we have coming up on today's show. Why Jalen Hurts and how Jalen Hurts has been shocking the Philadelphia Eagles throughout this offseason. We're going to have an honest discussion about Fletcher Cox. I feel as though people have disrespected a guy who's been an Eagles great, will always be an Eagles great, and is still playing at a really high level, although a lot of people don't realize that. You're going to realize that, though, after we take a look at the numbers. We're going to break down some Eagles breakout candidates and take a gander at the top remaining free agent targets that the Philadelphia Eagles could still bring in. Greg Terrell with a $10 super chat. This show is the best John out there. Hashtag real one. Real one roll call. Greg Terrell, certainly a real one. He's getting us underway, and you know what that means. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Now, we're not going to do a very long Eagles Now happy hour tonight because actually, you know what we're doing after the show tonight? Going to see Shohei Ohtani pitch against the Texas Rangers tonight. So we got to skirt on out of here a little bit after the show.
Greg says, peep the profile picture. He's at the Super Bowl. That's awesome. Super Bowl. You were at the Super Bowl as well.
That's pretty dope, man.
That's sick.
Fantastic. That's a real Birds fan right there. Greg, where are you watching from, my guy? And then we have Prayer Man coming in with the $5 super chat. Fly, Eagles, fly to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. Great job, guys. Thank you, Brody. Appreciate that. Yeah, if the Eagles are in Las Vegas, we're going to be there covering it like we were this past year against the Kansas City Chiefs. But hopefully the outcome of that game is different than the one against the Kansas City Chiefs. We have a first-time super chat from Roberto. Anybody who sends in a first-time super chat, we will chant your name like Roberto. Thank you so much, brother, for the $2 donation. We're not worthy. We're not worthy. Greg Terrell, by the way, tuned in from Fort Irwin, California. Not much of a trip for you then to go to Glendale, Arizona for Super Bowl 57. If you want to interact with me on Twitter throughout the show, take a selfie of you watching the program, tweet it to me. Don't DM it to me, at Chase_Senior. If you do that on Twitter, we'll give you a shout out here on the show today. If it's on Instagram, I'll reply to you after the program. Just a little bit harder, obviously, to see Instagram because for some reason they still don't have desktop versions of Instagram, which is just a crime. So Twitter and Instagram, you send a selfie of you watching the show. We'll get you featured on the program. And if you're ready to start the show, make sure you hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. And I want to do something a little bit new here. Our first segment is going to be about Jalen Hurts and how throughout this offseason, he's been shocking the Philadelphia Eagles in a good way. So if you have a question about Jalen Hurts, use the hashtag Hurts, not hashtag Eagles, just for this particular segment. Use the hashtag Hurts right now, and then at the end of this segment, which is coming up right now to officially start our show, we'll run through some of those questions that come in. The best ones obviously get answered first. J-Dub, yo, love this channel. You sound like a robot, Senior. Chillax. Why do I sound like a robot? Because I was singing the name of Roberto's first-time super chat? Got to show some love to the people. All right, like the video, 80 people watching live. We better get to 50 likes before I wrap up this first segment. If not, the bosses are pressuring me. We might have to shut the stream off. We don't want that to happen. It's the first of 4 segments coming up, and Philadelphia Eagles Now officially starts right now. All right, let's do it. Welcome in. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. As always, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, we appreciate you for making today's show a part of your day. And today's episode is presented by Manscaped. 20% off and free shipping on all of the best men's grooming products by heading to manscaped.com/chat. Use that promo code chat for that deal to apply. We're talking products for you below the waist, but also their new beard products as well. Join the 8 million men who trust Manscaped today. So today's show, we're talking about Jalen Hurts and how he's been shocking the Philadelphia Eagles throughout this entire offseason. Last year, he was tremendous, and this year, he continues to improve. That doesn't come as much of a surprise because that's the mental makeup. That's the grinder that Jalen Hurts is. We're going to dive into it all. But first, if you're pumped up that Jalen Hurts is the Eagles quarterback, second-round pick, the guy has gotten better and better every year that he's been in the league. His leadership quality is so important to the success of this organization that I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Let me begin with this talking point because I do believe it sets the foundation for Jalen Hurts, the player. The Philadelphia Eagles are lucky to have Jalen Hurts, and picking him in round 2 a few years ago was controversial at the time because it came after the Eagles had recently given Carson Wentz that contract extension. But Carson Wentz in his career quickly fizzled, and Jalen Hurts in his career hit a completely different jet stream, and it's on an upward trajectory. What makes Jalen Hurts so special has that cool, calm, and collected demeanor. He's always trying to get better. When he does make mistakes, he's willing to take accountability for those flaws. He's a respected leader in this locker room. He has made some monumental improvements as a passer in this league. He's a very dynamic runner on top of him improving as a thrower. He's faced a path of adversity throughout his life and his football career, and I think it's made him mentally tough to survive the pressure cooker that is Philadelphia. He never lives in the past, always looking to get better in the future. He has the it factor, which I believe is very important for playing the quarterback position, and Jalen Hurts, at the time, becomes the highest paid quarterback in the history of the NFL. He got the bag, yet he was still grinding this offseason to become a better player. Complacency, that's not a word in Jalen Hurts' vast vocabulary. And his growth has certainly been on display his first 3 years in the league. He gets drafted in 2020 in that second round, and everybody's like, what, you took Hurts? We just signed Carson Wentz to that deal. He finished 2019 with a good final month of the season, but Howie Roseman had some good foresight here. They obviously had concerns about Wentz's viability as a player, but also the injury issues as well. And Carson Wentz quickly slid downhill. Jalen Hurts comes in that year one. He certainly displayed some ability and some flashes, completed 52% of his passes, only 70 passing yards per game, a quarterback rating of 77. But if you remember, the team was so injured in that season in Doug Peterson's final year, and the completion percentage was so low because the weapons were awful, but also Jalen Hurts was running through it for his life, and a lot of those footballs he did have to throw away. And then in 2021, in a run-centric offense, Hurts did make some improvements as a thrower of the football. The completion percentage goes up by about 10 percentage points. The yards per game up dramatically to 210, and the quarterback rating up by 10 points as well. And then in 2022, the best season to date, and this is why he finished behind Patrick Mahomes as the league's MVP, 66.5% on his completion percentage. So to go from his rookie season when he was under 52 to nearly 67, it's a testament to the work that he's put in and the growth that he's made as a player. As for what Jalen Hurts can improve on in his NFL career, there's of course a lot to improve on. He can still get better, but he's not settling for what he did a year ago. He's still looking to add some tools to his toolbox, and iron sharpens iron. Hurts was asked recently about what he can do to become a better quarterback, and he said, "My emphasis has just been turning my weaknesses into my strengths." Now, somebody's going to ask, what are my weaknesses? That's for me to know. But it's all just about getting better. It's about getting better. I think about all the different things last year that I did at a high level and to my standards, and the things I didn't do at a high level. But I think the thing that kind of keeps me going is being my biggest critic. Certain things are allowed, but for me, it may not be. So knowing that, staying true to that, staying true to myself, and then also staying true to my coaches, taking that coaching and continuing to grow. Now, that wasn't a quote from the Bible, as Jalen Hurts usually goes to in his wheelhouse, as he has this very vast vocabulary and a bunch of great sayings that seem to hit all the right notes at the right time. But that's a classic Jalen Hurts sequence for what he had to say. Some things might be allowed to some people, but not for me. And being your own biggest critic allows you to improve every day. And if you're not getting better every day, what are you doing? You're getting worse. And he continues to try to make progress every single day. And what he did in 2022 was extremely special. And what I find so amazing about what Hurts did last year is the amount of touches that he had, 460 total throws, combined with the amount of times he ran the football, 165, yet he only turned the football over a total of 8 times. He threw 6 picks, and he had 2 lost fumbles. To be the marquee go-to element of this offense and to have the ball in his hands as much as he does, but to put the ball in harm's way so few times, it's what's so crazy about what Hurts accomplished last year. And I'm looking forward to seeing him get even better through that aerial attack. 22 touchdowns through the air with 6 interceptions, 13 more touchdowns on the ground. I think as he gets a little bit older, you, of course, still want to have him pose that dynamic threat of being a runner and a thrower, but maybe run a little bit less and improve as a passer a little bit more. He certainly did that in the Super Bowl when he was chucking it all over the yard. And as a quarterback throwing the football, he was going stride for stride with Patrick Mahomes. Jalen Hurts is the quintessential leader for your football team. And you can tell that he's a coach's son because he's all about the team. He's all about being a leader. He's about being that guy who people look to lead your unit, but the player who might have to chime in here and there and say the right message, which gets conveyed at a perfect time. And Hurts talked about being a leader, and it is a role that he certainly relishes and takes advantage of. You're setting an example for everyone else in the room. It's a great opportunity for the culture and the environment to be set, that it's okay to be coached. I love that. It's okay to be coached. And that piggybacks off of what Nick Sirianni said recently when he said Hurts is the most coachable player he's ever coached in his career. I've been coached hard my whole entire life. So in terms of accountability, I think that's really big. He mentioned accountability. That's why I also said it at the top of the show. So Hurts, he's going into year 4. I love his personality. I love his demeanor. And frankly, I really love his game. Who is your favorite Eagles quarterback of all time? Has he done enough to take over that seat? Or is it somebody else like a Ron Jaworski, a Randall Cunningham, a Michael Vick, a Steve Van Buren, a Donovan McNabb? You let me know. Drop me a name down in the comment section right now. We're going to take your questions on Jalen Hurts coming up here right around the corner. But first, today's show is presented by Manscaped. 20% off and free shipping by using the promo code CHAT at manscaped.com/chat. If you haven't heard already, it's Smooth Sack Summer. When you're playing in the summer sun, make sure you're scaped from pubes to bum. That's right. This is the summer to keep your balls cool while still looking hot with Manscaped. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming are making sure we have a ball this summer. See what I'm saying? By giving our pants partners everything they need to stay fresh, dive headfirst into Smooth Sack Summer by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. Can you say Smooth Sack Summer 10 times fast? I want to challenge you. You can also write it out in the comment section as well. The Manscaped Performance Package, 4.0 has everything you need to prepare that summer bod. They have built the ultimate grooming bundle for your summer grooming summer bod. And the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade, and safeguard technology so you don't cut yourself up below the waist because that's obviously not good at all. Manscaped.com/chat. We'll put that link in the comment section and in the description of this video. Let's take your questions about Jalen Hurts. Appreciate all of you for using the hashtag Hurts here. Billy the Birdman Bolton. Do you think he will be MVP this year? I don't see why he can't contend for MVP. On offense, you only lost Isaac Seumalo and you lost Miles Sanders. Other than that, you return a very legitimate supporting cast for this 2023 team. Great offensive line, great weapons for him to throw to, and with more experience, does he become a better player? I think he can. Nick Stone. How many touchdown passes for Jalen this year? So 22 last year in the regular season. Let's up that to 30. Another year playing alongside A.J. Brown, year 2 for them. Year 3 playing with Devontae Smith. He has Dallas Goedert once again. I like Quez Watkins to hopefully take a leap. Olamide Zaccheaus. DeAndre Swift gives him some easy completions because he's a much better receiving back than Miles Sanders, and he's a home run threat when he touches the football. So Brian Johnson calling the plays, of course, is going to be a little bit of a shift as far as the offensive play calling goes and maybe the philosophy of that offense. But Brian Johnson has known Jalen Hurts for a really long time because Hurts' dad coached Brian Johnson when he was in high school. And Jalen Hurts has worked with Brian Johnson the last couple of years at the NFL level. Cole Raines, how many Super Bowls do you think he will win? Look, he got close to winning one last year. He sniffed it. Just give me one. You win one Super Bowl and you put together a really good career, you're a Hall of Famer. And one Super Bowl for any quarterback out there is absolutely elite. You win more than that, people talk about you as one of the greatest to ever do it. Elijah Stovall, which is first, 15 passing touchdowns or 12 rushing touchdowns? I'm going to go 15 passing touchdowns. And I think that they're going to prioritize Jalen Hurts throwing the football a little bit more. And in the red zone, like I said, DeAndre Swift, I think, is a really underrated weapon. And if Dallas Goedert doesn't get hurt last year, I think he becomes a more critical component of that passing game as well. And I don't think it's ideal to have a quarterback run for so many touchdowns. But again, he's such a special weapon that do you take a strength away from him and take away an element that makes him so special? That's kind of the give and take with a dual threat quarterback. TJ Whitmer, what's good, brother? How many passing and rushing yards do you think that he is going to put up this year? Let's go 3,000 passing yards and 600 rushing yards. You put together that through the air and on the ground, that's very, very good. And maybe he optimizes his touchdowns through the air a little bit more. Iron Missile, an OG here. Always enjoy interacting with him on social media. He has some of the freshest Eagles gear that I've ever seen. Will his Kelly Green jersey be the biggest seller? I'm going to get a Kelsey jersey first. I'm in agreement that the next Eagles jersey that I get, it's not going to be an offensive skill player like a Jalen Hurts, a Devontae Smith, and A.J. Brown. I already have a Brian Dawkins jersey, and I love that jersey because it has a long-term value. I can wear that forever. So the next Eagles jersey that I get, I'm with Iron Missile. I think it's going to be a Jason Kelsey jersey. In fact, it is going to be a Jason Kelsey jersey. All-time franchise legend, one of the best centers in the history of football, maybe the best. And you can wear that forever, and people are like, 62, Kelsey. As for Hurts in the Kelly Green jersey, guarantee you he'll be top 5 in jersey sales here in 2023. Feel free to interact with me on Twitter and Instagram. Iron Missile, he's done just that. He slides in my DMs a lot, sends me some pics of his icy Kelly Green Nike Jordans at Chase_Senior on Twitter, at Chase_Senior on Instagram. If you want to send in a donation, it is the rectangular box with the $sign that goes through it. One segment down, 3 more to go. Here's our super chat menu. $5 beer cheers. $10, we'll do the EAGLES chant. $20, we'll pour up the shots. $50 for a beer bong. $100 for a shotgun. We had those super chats that came in earlier. I think we had a 5, so beer cheers to you. Let's go. And if you want to ask the Pocket Aces a question, Chase, Trace, that's the new nickname moving forward. Might have to make some shirts, honestly. It sounds so damn good. Use the hashtag Eagles, or better yet, Super Chat, to get your questions answered. And next week, next Tuesday, I'm going to the Phillies-Braves game. Is anybody else going to that game? If you are, let me know, And hit me up, Twitter, Instagram, @Chase_Senior. I'll be tailgating before that game. I'm not sure exactly where, but if you message me, I can let you know where. We can meet up real quick, and I can say what's up. Headed back to the Philadelphia area to see some family members. My Australian cousin's actually in town for the first time in a really, really long time. All right, coming up next on the show. Trace, you ready to rock? Eagles breakout candidates. That is segment number 2. Let's get it. This year is really flying by. We're already at the halfway point of June. NFL training camp does commence at the end of July, so it's a perfect opportunity for us to look ahead to the regular season and break down some Eagles 2023 breakout candidates. I have 5 players to talk about on the show today, but before we do that, make sure you subscribe to the show. We're closing in on a really special milestone for all YouTubers out there. And think about how many YouTube channels there are out there. So many competitors for us. For us to be the largest independently run Eagles channel, it's awesome. To be one of the most successful, it is a blessing for me. I am so grateful. And when we get to 50,000 subs, that is a milestone that we will celebrate. If you're looking for year-round Eagles coverage, we have you covered right here on Eagles Now. I'm Chase Senior, and this is what we do here on the channel. Year-round Birds coverage, news, rumors, and analysis. All of our content, I take pride in it being insightful, informative, entertaining. I want you to learn, but I also want you to have fun as well. Live shows like this, watch parties as well, and breaking news alerts. When breaking news happens, we go deeper into the subject matter than anybody else. So I first want to take a look at my breakout candidates from last year. This is when I took over the channel, and I was in the infancy of me hosting Eagles shows on the daily. Now, I grew up in Westchester. I've been a fan of this football team since I was 4 years old. So, again, to be able to do this is something that I don't take for granted. I wake up every day and feel absolutely blessed. And I had a very high hit right here on my 2022 breakout candidates. Jalen Hurts, runner-up in MVP voting. Miles Sanders was top 5 in rushing yards, set a career high for touchdowns scored and rushing yards. He was a breakout candidate. Dallas Goedert had a breakout campaign. Imagine what he could have done if he didn't miss a few games because of injury, but he once again was one of the best all-around tight ends in the sport. Unfortunately, Derek Barnett tore his ACL week 1, and then Marcus Epps had a breakout campaign as well. That's why he landed that huge deal with the Las Vegas Raiders. So 4 out of 5 here on my 2022 breakout candidates. Let's see if we can run it back, but go 5 for 5 here. As for those 5 players, we'll get to them all on today's show. Let's begin, though, with player number 1. Jordan Davis, my first breakout candidate for Philadelphia here in 2023, and why I think Jordan Davis can pop. Javon Hargrave departs Philadelphia for San Francisco in free agency, and Jordan Davis is going to get a lot of opportunities to see the field a lot. He's going to get a lot of snaps, and because of that, the production, I think, is going to increase dramatically. He needed to come into this offseason in a little bit better shape. Now, he's still a mountain of a man, 6'6", 340 pounds, but is in better shape this year. He needs that stamina to be on the uptick to be a legit 3-down player. And for Davis, has all of the ability in the world to take over games, and I think he's going to be able to do that this year. He's playing on a loaded front, which will certainly help him a great deal. And don't let the lack of numbers fool you for Jordan Davis with what he did as a rookie. Jordan Davis, in that rookie campaign after being selected in the first round by Philadelphia, was so impactful on tape. He drew so many double teams, allowing one-on-one opportunities for other players along that defensive line. Him being on the field did lead to and help the Eagles accumulate 70 sacks as a football team during the regular season. That was 15 more than any other team in the NFL. The Kansas City Chiefs were number 2. And if Davis can become a legit 3-down player, and if his stamina is able to increase a little bit, I don't see why he can have a breakout campaign here in year 2. He played 13 games last year with 5 starts, only tallied 18 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and 1 pass breakup. But again, for Jordan Davis, if he's drawing double teams all the time, and that then leads to a successful play, his impact is not showing up directly on the stat sheet, but it's being felt for the defense's success. So with that, this is today's poll question. Let me know. Drop me a name down in the comment section and share your thoughts. Who is your top Eagles breakout candidate for this upcoming season? Nakobe Dean, Jordan Davis's Georgia teammate, is my second breakout candidate. What's the theme here with two of these players to begin? Jordan Davis going to slide in for Javon Hargrave, and then Nakobe Dean is going to start in also as a starter, at least presumably as a starting backer on this team. In line to start alongside Nicholas Morrow, I will say that the Eagles are very thin with off-ball linebackers right now. Nakobe Dean in OTAs didn't have a crazy offseason in which he was turning a bunch of heads, but does he have more pop to his game with more game reps? Is this a player who just frankly plays better in between the lines when the live bullets are flying? I think so, because he's such a smart and instinctual player who knows the game of football. And it's really telling for me that the Eagles gave him that green dot because Sean Desai is going to be relaying him the plays to relay to the entire defense. And Dean checked out pretty nicely in a limited workload, albeit last year as a rookie. 20 coverage snaps, 17 run defense snaps, 4 solo tackles, 4 stops. Overall Pro Football Focus grade of 78.7. League average is 70. Run defense grade of 69.1. A coverage grade of 75.8. What I like here about Nakobe Dean, he is a sure-handed tackler. 0 missed tackles. And I think the numbers that he put up in 2021 at Georgia are going to be the numbers that he can put up here with Philadelphia in his sophomore season. 72 tackles en route to that national championship with the Bulldogs, 10.5 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, 2 interceptions, and 6 pass breakups. I hope that Sean Desai uses him in a way that taps into his strengths. Playing around the line, off-ball coverage linebacker, send him home on some blitz packages, let him be aggressive, playing with his hair on fire, and let him be that instinctual player that he is. Now, I will say, if Nakobe Dean flops, if he struggles a little bit, if that lack of size is a little bit of an issue, look out for Christian Ellis. Had a couple of interceptions throughout Eagles OTAs and was one of the biggest winners during the offseason program. Feel free to interact with me on Twitter and Instagram at Chase_Senior. I'm flying back to Philly next week. I'll be there from Sunday to Wednesday, kind of in the Philly, Westchester, Lancaster area. I'm going to see my cousins from Australia, actually. We're going to the Phillies game on Tuesday. So if you're going to be there, slide in my DMs and we can meet up for a pregame tailgate, crash and brews or something. And we also have a great deal to tell you about here on the show as well. This Chat Sports Eagles shirt, it is now on sale for just $14. What, Chase? Are you kidding me? I'm not kidding you. $14. Chatsports.com/EaglesT, as Mitchell Renz would say. I'm not shitting you. DeAndre Swift, Eagles breakout candidate number 3. You might say, well, what do you mean here? Because DeAndre Swift has put together a pretty solid career, right? I think that he can legit blow up, and DeAndre Swift can become one of the best running backs in the game this upcoming season. Entering a contract year, so the pressure is on him to try to set himself up for a nice payday. DeAndre Swift, as a former second-round pick, has always had ability. He's just been nicked up a little bit throughout his career. Coming to Philadelphia, this is a running back-friendly offensive system and scheme, and he's running behind the best offensive line in football. Paving the way for him in front of him, it's going to be Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Jason Kelsey, Cam Jurgens, and Lane Johnson, who has not given up a sack for a few years now. And what I mean by Swift being a breakout candidate, I'm talking 1,000 yards rushing for the first time in his career. I think he has the ability to be a 1,100 to 1,500 yard running back this upcoming season. And if he more than doubles his numbers, that to me is a breakout campaign. When I talk about the talent, you can see it here. 4.5 yards per carry, more than 4 in 2021, and then 5.5 in 2022. DeAndre Swift led all running backs in yards per touch last year, and he's really good at catching the football and making plays happen with his legs after he receives the football. Look out for DeAndre Swift. I think he's in store for a splashy 2023. What say you? Is it going to be Swift? Is it going to be Rashad Penny? Is it going to be Kenneth Gainwell or Boston Scott, the true wild card? Who will lead the Birds in rushing? You let me know down in the comment section. Another breakout candidate that I want to get to, Trace, you don't have to do that. Let's go Cam Jurgens, another breakout candidate for me here. I think Cam Jurgens is also going to have a very big season just because he's going to have ample opportunities, right, to see the field this year. He is slotted to start in place of Isaac Seumalo. He is undersized, but Cam Jurgens is plenty athletic and talented to play guard. What I mean by that is in this system with Jeff Stoutland, the offensive line coach, last year I saw he had this innate ability to snap the football when he was the backup center in the preseason, get out on some of those pull blocks, get to that first, second, and third level to block downfield to open up some running lanes for either a quick screen pass, a swing pass, or a run, whether that be for the quarterback or the running back. And a reason why I think Jurgens can play good football here this upcoming season. Jeff Stoutland, like I said, he's the best offensive line coach in the NFL. He could develop myself and Trizzy to play offensive lineman. Now, I'm only 6 foot, about 180 pounds, but if I added some weight, I guarantee Jeff Stoutland could be like, yo, you could play offensive line. And I'll be like, Jeff, I trust you to make me a good offensive lineman. Trizzy, he's got some good size to him as well. We could play a little guard. That's how good Jeff Stoutland is. But in all seriousness, do the Eagles have the best offensive line in the National Football League? Pro Football Focus still ranked it at number 1. Why for yes or an N for no? So we have Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean, DeAndre Swift, and Cam Jurgens checking in that 5th and final spot. Reed Blankenship. As of right now, without training camp obviously underway, that gets started at the end of July, I think the starting safety tandem is going to be Terrell Edmunds. And I think that Terrell Edmunds, Greedy Williams, they are candidates to be breakouts as well. Reed Blankenship, though, I think this is pretty obvious with how he played last year. I thought he filled in very nicely when C.J. Gardner-Johnson went down with that nasty laceration in his core. He's versatile. He could play in multiple spots. He plays with his hair on fire. He is never scared to light up the opponent. I love his physicality, and I love his fearlessness. He was asked recently what the identity of this Eagles defense is going to be. He's like, we just want to hit people. Reed Blankenship can play. And I think that Reed Blankenship, a former UDFA who cracked the 53-man roster, who had a great training camp in 2022, is going to have an even better training camp here in 2023. And he's obviously earned the trust of this coaching staff. Otherwise, he wouldn't be slotted in to play safety in year 2 as a former UDFA. Blankenship's Pro Football Focus numbers, they might surprise you. League average is 70. He was above league average with his overall Pro Football Focus grade at 75.8. A run defense grade of 76.5, so he can play in the box. A pass rush grade of 69.4. He can make plays behind the line of scrimmage. And a coverage grade very solid of 71.5. Also of note, some of these numbers, I know it's a smaller sample size, lesser snaps, but better than C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Terrell Edmunds' Pro Football Focus numbers, better than C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So my 5 breakout candidates for Philadelphia here this upcoming season: Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean, DeAndre Swift, Cam Jurgens, and Reed Blankenship. Let me know who you think is going to break out. And if you enjoy our program here, you enjoy the channel and the content that we cook up for you, give me a real one down below. It's a real one. Roll call. All right, what are people saying here? Past is here. Callie Green, Nick Stone, Alvin Simpson, Ryan Rowe, David Marcella. Speaking of Marcella, $10 super chat. What's up, Pocket Rockets? Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Pocket Aces or Pocket Rockets? I got a rocket in my pocket, got a rocket in my pocket. I'm loving the flag from draft night. It's hanging on my wall. I'm loving Nakobe Dean's progression, and I think DeAndre Swift is a great addition to the team. Shot time, boys. Shot time? I think it's just EAGLES, right? Yeah, but you can take a shot, Trace, if you want. Yeah. Trace will take a shot. I'll give you a sip because that's a beer cheers, my brother.
I'm also going to open up my beer.
I gave you a couple sips there, David. Marcella, if you're at the crib and you want to tweet me a picture of that Eagles flag that you won on draft night, do it. At Chase_Senior on Twitter. Don't DM it to me. Like, take an actual picture of it and tweet it to me. Don't DM it to me. Therefore, we can get the photo and we can put it on the screen here. And that'd be awesome. If you're home, if you're at the crib, you can take a selfie with it as well. If you want to show it off, we'll get you featured on the show. Our Super Chat menu, here it is. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! There you go, David. $5 for a beer cheers, $10 Eagles chant, as we just did. $20 we'll pour up the shots, $50 for a beer bong, $100 for a shotgun. We're up to $27 in super chats. If we get to 100 in total, I'll shotgun this happy dad here. Or if you send in 100, just 100 in general, I'll shotgun the happy dad. Headed to the Phillies game on Tuesday against the Atlanta Braves. If you're going and you're going to be in the area, let me know. Going to be doing some tailgating prior to that game, most likely. Got to talk with the fam, but would love to meet up with a lot of you. So hit me up on Twitter, @Chase_Senior. Instagram, don't be shy. Slide in the DMs and say, Chase, what's good, my brother? All right, coming up next here on the show, we have 2 more segments to get to. I want to have a really good conversation about Fletcher Cox. I feel as though a lot of people have been sleeping on him over the last couple of years. It's time to stop sleeping on Fletcher Cox. So, third segment, we have 4 to get to. We're not going to do a large or long Eagles Now happy hour because we're going to go see Shohei Ohtani tonight. Let's see. Just got to answer some messages here about that game tonight. We just decided like a couple of hours ago, hey, Shohei Ohtani's pitching against the Rangers. Let's go.
And it's also
generational player.
It ain't going to break the bank either. So it's like you got to see that, you know.
Callie Green. Chase, are you red or is that my screen? I think it's the camera in here. Might be your screen. I don't know. I think my complexion seems normal, but who the hell knows? Headed to the Phillies game. If you're going, let me know. And let's get into our third segment here.
Y'all ready to talk some Fletcher Cox? I need to get hashtag Cox out, COX. I need hashtag Cox out in the chat.
TJ Whitmer said my fave player. Nick Stone saying Cox is a legend. And I'm going to explain why he's a legend coming up here.
Cox out for Fletcher Cox, but it's COX because, you know, obviously, what else would it be, you know? What else would it be?
All right, let's talk Cox. Coming up on today's Philadelphia Eagles Now, we're going to have a discussion about Cox. Fletcher Cox, that is. Has the narrative that Fletcher Cox is washed been flat out wrong? And can he still play? And is he playing at an elite level despite him being in the league since 2012? Fletcher Cox's resume. He's one of the most legendary Eagles defenders of all time. He's drafted out of Mississippi State back in 2012. I remember that night fondly because I was in the 94 WIP studios that night, and I had Fletcher Cox mocked to Philadelphia. That's exactly where he went. First team All-Pro in 2018. That is quite the honor. A second team All-Pro 3 times in what has been an awesome career. 2014, 2015, and 2017. He has tallied 6 Pro Bowl selections. He was named a member of the 2010s All-Decade team. And of course, in Super Bowl 52 against the New England Patriots, a critical member of that defense that won the franchise's first ever Super Bowl. And think about this, right? When you consider greatness as far as professional athletes go, longevity and a sustained level of play are really important. And that's exactly what Fletcher Cox has been able to do since coming into the league in 2012. He has consistently been a great player, or at the very worst, a very good player, even at the tail end of his career. And him being available has been critical to the Eagles' success on the defensive side of the football. He has missed a total of 4 games in his NFL career. And Fletcher Cox has not missed a game due to injury in a decade. He has been an extremely durable player, and with that durability has also come a lot of production for Fletcher Cox, where he has solidified himself as one of the best defensive linemen in franchise history for an organization that has had a bunch of great players. So if you think Fletcher Cox is an all-time Eagle, type his jersey number down below in the comment section. It's 91 for those not familiar. And this will also be the pinned comment of today's show. So if you get hit with that YouTube ad break, scroll on down, get those numbers in, and we'll be right back after that. With what Fletcher Cox has been able to do throughout his career, 173 total games, 65 sacks, although he's never really been too much of a sack artist operating out of that defensive tackle spot, 156 quarterback hits in those 173 games, 85 tackles for loss, and 336 solo tackles. And Fletcher's production has been really good of late. I think a lot of people looked at that contract and he wasn't meeting the threshold of being an elite player, making elite money, but the high price tag has overshadowed that a bit because Fletcher Cox has been more than serviceable, and he's been really, really good. You look at what Cox has done over his last 4 years, he's still been a steadily very, very good player. In 2019, 40 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, 10 quarterback hits. In 2020, 41 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks with 9 quarterback hits. In 2021, I will say it was a little bit disappointing for him. 35 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, and 12 quarterback hits. And then in 2022, he was legitimately one of the best defensive tackles in the game. 43 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, and 14 quarterback hits. Now, today's video, we're going in depth on Fletcher Cox. We've done the same about Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts in previous videos as well because our versatility really important to me on the show because I want to be able to display that we do it all. And if you want more Eagles talk like this, subscribe. Turn on those noties, therefore you never miss our content. Now, when I talk about Fletcher Cox being elite, the numbers back up Fletcher Cox being elite in 2022. You might look at his production and say, Cox didn't really do anything last year. The numbers prove otherwise. Fletcher Cox last year was 9th among interior defensive linemen in sacks. He was 5th among interior defensive linemen in snaps. He was, can we go back to that number that I was reading there, Trace? Because I think that's an important number. So Fletcher Cox in 2022, 9th among interior defensive linemen in sacks, 5th among interior defensive linemen in snaps. He was one of 11 defensive tackles in the National Football League to play at least 45% of the snaps in every single game. And if we want to put Chris Jones in that category as the best defensive tackle in the game, Fletcher Cox was actually on par with him last year. He was second to Chris Jones with 14 hurries. He was 5th among defensive tackles in pressures and 13th in quarterback knockdowns. So not only has Fletcher Cox produced since 2012 as a first-round pick, making him one of the best defenders that has ever rocked the midnight green, he's been consistently durable as well, having not missed a game in a decade due to injury, but the production has also been there for a really long time. And for him to come back on a 1-year, $10 million contract, that's great value for the Eagles here in 2023, as once again, they figure to be competing for a Super Bowl. Don't forget also that from 2015 to 2020, Cox was probably the second best defensive tackle in the game of football. Like, that is not a hyperbolic statement to say. It was Aaron Donald and it was Fletcher Cox. That's why Cox was named a member of the 2010s All-Decade team. It was Aaron Donald, it was Cox, kind of going stride for stride. There were some moments and there were some seasons that I even thought that Cox was the better player as compared to Aaron Donald. So that's really special territory when you consider the greatness that Donald has and does still possess. And to get him on that 1-year, $10 million deal, I think that's great value, especially if he turns in 7 sacks. But I also think that having him on this football team as an accomplished veteran, as a probable future Eagles Hall of Famer, it's great to have him on this team so that he can tutor Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, because that's the next generation. The Eagles had the future in mind when they took Davis and when they took Carter. They moved up to take Davis. He was too good to pass up on. And then Jalen Carter, the value of that pick at number 9, that was too good to pass up on as well. And Cox, Brandon Graham, 2 members of that defensive line who have been so accomplished in their respective NFL careers, and they're going to have an opportunity to bring along some of these young cats. so that hopefully they can become franchise greats as well. Those little things, they do matter. I do believe that a sound culture can help you win a championship. So who's your favorite Eagles defender of all time? A lot of great defensive players on this team. For me, I might have to go Brian Dawkins. He's the background on my phone and has been for several years, but I'm going to help you out here if you can't rack your brain and come up with a name right now, because this list of players, they can all be in that category of the best Eagles defender in franchise history. Reggie White probably takes the cake. Such a special player. Rest in peace to a legend. Chuck Bednarik, Concrete Charlie, just a folk hero back in the day, especially when the Eagles won that NFL championship in 1960. Brian Dawkins is probably my favorite athlete of all time, alongside Allen Iverson and Chase Utley. All of them epitomize what it's like to be a Philadelphia athlete. Bill Bergey, very good linebacker back in the day. Jerome Brown took from us way too early. Him on that Buddy Ryan defense, just a unique player who, if he was able to extend his NFL career, may have been one of the greats of all time in NFL history, not just for the Birds. And then you look at a couple of these players. By the way, the Kelly Greens are so icy. Shout out to Trizzy Trace for putting this graphic together. Eric Allen, Hall of Famer. Seth Joyner, a lot of people wanted him to be the defensive coordinator to replace Jonathan Gannon. He ain't scared of nothing. Andre Waters, also gone too soon. Clyde Simmons, very good player. And then Trent Cole. Trent Cole, I believe, is second all-time in the history of the Eagles in sacks, so he has to be on this list of the best Eagles defenders of all time. So if you enjoyed today's show, if you enjoy our content, or you just want to say what's up, slide in the DMs. Say howdy at Chase_Senior on Twitter and Instagram. Or if you don't like howdy, be like, yo, because that's more in that Philly wing. One more seg. One more seg. One more seg. All right, good stuff here, man. We're talking ball today, having a blast. David Marcellus said Brian Dawkins, maybe Eric Allen. Who has the most interceptions? I'll tell you. Let's see. Most interceptions, Eric Allen with 34. That was going to be my guess, and that's a big reason why he's on that list. But Eric Allen, 34 career picks. So let's see here. Take a look at the exact list. Oh, you know what? Brian Dawkins also has 34. So they're tied. And Bill Bradley, 34. Herm Edwards had 33. Troy Vincent, 28. Recent name for some people in my generation. Asante Samuel had 23, and he didn't even play for the team that long. Like, that's insane. Chuck Bednarik as a linebacker had 20. Sheldon Brown with 19. Bobby Taylor with 19. Lito Shepherd, he was a one-time All-Pro. 18, so some pretty good names on that list. Malcolm Jenkins, not much of an interception artist. Let's see. I don't see him on this list. Playing safety, you don't really have those opportunities all the time, but I think Malcolm Jenkins is one of the best defenders in Eagles history as well. Probably not top 10, though. Our Super Chat menu for today, $5 beer cheers, $10 the Eagles chant, $20 we'll pour up some shots, $50 for a beer bong, and $100 for a shotgun. After this upcoming segment, we're not going to hang out too long because we're trying to get to the Rangers game to see Shohei Ohtani pitch. So we're not going to really extend the show. So it's kind of your last call to send in a donation if you've been enjoying the show. If you do, obviously we appreciate it, and we are very grateful for that. We're going to round out the show with this. Top free agents left that the Eagles can still sign prior to training camp. That's what's coming up right now. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Hope all of you out there are having a fantastic week. On the show today, going to take a look at the top free agents left who the Eagles can still sign with training camp coming up at the end of July. First, though, be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you can stay informed on whenever the Eagles do make a move. We give you year-round daily content on the Birds. We're always here to break it down, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. So let's begin here. These are the most notable names still left on the free agency market. Dalvin Cook, obviously, checking in at number one, the running back formerly of the Minnesota Vikings. I think it's a little bit wild that him and his agent are looking to demand about $10 million per year, I'll guarantee you this, there isn't a team that's going to pay Dalvin Cook $10 million per year. And if that's the case, I'll take a big drink right here on the show. I just don't see how it's going to happen. Now, he has been productive throughout his entire career, been a special running back, especially over the last 4, in which he has eclipsed more than 1,000 yards every single season. But the Eagles aren't going to bring in Dalvin Cook. Why? They're set at running back. And some people wanted the Eagles to sign him. I was under the premise that they never needed to. That's my opinion, because I think DeAndre Swift is a special back, younger, cheaper. Kenneth Gainwell was awesome in the playoffs. Rashad Penny, if he's healthy, he can be your 2017 version of LeGarrette Blount, and then Boston Scott, the legendary giant killer. Free agent number 2 is DeAndre Hopkins. We've talked about him here on the program a few times, and I thought it was pretty interesting that Dan Orlovsky had said, look, D-Hop, number 1 destination in Orlovsky's eyes, the New England Patriots. But he threw out 2 teams that he should go to if he wants to, 1, compete for a ring, and 2, play with an elite quarterback. The Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts, the Baltimore Ravens, and Lamar Jackson. I don't think that Howie's going to budge here. I think D-Hop is going to go somewhere where he can make some dough. There's been some chatter about him potentially signing with the New England Patriots. Keep in mind that we are recording this here on Thursday, June 15th. If any of these players are off the board, don't rip me in the comment section. I'm headed back to Philly for a little vacay. But the last 4 years, D-Hop, obviously a very good player and a jump ball wide receiver who can come down with those 50-50 balls. But like running back, Eagles very set at wide receiver. And this is an Eagles roster in total that has so much depth on this team. And they don't really need a lot of players on this roster because Howie Roseman's done such a good job of constructing it. But I'm of the premise, look, if you can stack up your roster with as many great playmakers as possible, you always got to do it. So you tell me, the Eagles' biggest position of need is what on this team? Canvass the roster. I might say right guard just because Cam Jurgens and Tyler Steen are a little bit unproven. Off-ball linebacker, Nakobe Dean is really only that guy, so linebacker is another position, and then safety as well. That's 3 for me. What do you think? Let me know. Free agent number 3, Yannick Ngakoue. There was buzz a few years ago about him wanting to sign with Philadelphia and the Eagles' interest in him. He had posted a couple of pictures that were Eagles-related on his Instagram story. Reggie White, Brian Dawkins, when he was trying to get out of the dumpster fire that was the Jacksonville Jaguars. Shout out to Dougie P for bringing that team back. Yannick Ngakoue, he's one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. And the fact that he's still unsigned here at the midway point of June kind of blows my mind. Every single year that he's been in the NFL, he's had 8+ sacks, and he's still only 28 years old. And in a league where you have to get after the quarterback and generate a pass rush, that's what he's elite at. Everybody wants to rip him for him not being good against the run. Look, he's elite in one category and arguably one of the most important elements for a football team. And he did hire Drew Rosenhaus to be his agent. But the Eagles, like a lot of these other positions, very good along that defensive line and extremely deep. Eagles' first-string defensive line, Brandon Graham, 11 sacks last year. Fletcher Cox was 7. Josh Sweat had 11. Hassan Reddick, combined in the regular season and in the playoffs, had 18.5. And Jordan Davis going into a big year, too. And then that second-string defensive line, you might be able to flip-flop Janarius Robinson with somebody else. I still am bullish on the ability of Derek Barnett. Just stop committing dumbass penalties. Jalen Carter, Milton Williams, to have those 2 defensive tackles at depth pieces is wild. And Nolan Smith, he was attending Von Miller's pass rushing academy. Look out for the youngster out of Georgia. To Marcus Peters now. This is actually a signing that I wouldn't hate because I don't think you can ever have enough top-tier cornerbacks in the NFL. Just because of how often opposing offenses chuck the ball around the yard. And Peters has been getting it done for a really long time. Been some chatter about the Raiders' interest in Marcus Peters. They certainly have a little bit more interest in him than any other team out there. D-Hop, by the way, and the Patriots have finished a Thursday visit that started early in the morning. It went well into the night. So that's the update there on D-Hop from Trizzy Trace. And Peters, you look at the numbers here, been getting it done for a really long time. Didn't play in 2021, and then limited production in 2022 because of that injury. And then you take a gander at the Eagles secondary here. Like, I do believe this is a very good makeup for your back five. Darius Slay, outside corner. James Bradbury, outside corner in that slot. Avonte Maddox. You have Greedy Williams as a depth piece. Zach McPherson figures to just be getting slot snaps right now. Terrell Edmonds, Reed Blankenship. The jury is kind of out on those players. But because the Eagles are so good on that defensive line, I think it's going to make the back end job a lot easier for these players here on your screen, as well as the guys who are backups. To guard now. This is a signing I could see the Eagles making, because they did kind of, address this position in free agency with Tyler Steen. Cam Jurgens has been a center throughout his entire life, but why did they work out DJ Fluker? I think they worked out DJ Fluker to see what he might be able to bring to the table if the Eagles do struggle at that guard spot. And Dalton Reisner has been a really solid player throughout his career. He at least brings experience to any club that he goes to. You pair him up with Jeff Stoutland. I think Stout going to be able to bring the best out of him. His PFF grades, he was 43 out of 69 at that guard spot last year. Overall grade of 60.1. Pass blocking grade, good at 72.2. Run blocking grade, not good, especially in this offense at 53.5. 1 penalty, 2 sacks given up. Keep in mind, though, how bad that Broncos offense was. Jadeveon Clowney checking in at number 6. If the Eagles suffer an injury at defensive end, even at defensive tackle, I could see them flirting with the possibility of Clowney. I do think that Clowney's going to be a guy who is going to sign late in the process. Like, he's done enough in his career, and his body's been through enough where I don't think he's going to partake in a bunch of training camp. He's never fully lived up to the hype or the expectations of being that number 1 pick out of South Carolina when he wrecked that Michigan player way back in the day. But you look at his numbers, he's certainly capable and had 9 sacks only 2 years ago. Justin Houston, the ageless wonder. This guy continues to put forward massive production, and he's become one of the best sack artists in the history of the NFL. Justin Houston's numbers the last 4 years. Last year with Baltimore, he was very, very good. He had 9.5 sacks for Baltimore. A little bit of a down year in 2021 with those 4.5 sacks, but in 2020 had 8. In 2019, he had 11. On the NFL all-time sacks leaders list, I'm looking at it right now, and Justin Houston, he checks in, I believe, in the top 25. So that's really impressive numbers for him to put together that type of career that he's been able to put forward in his entire career. And he's still getting it done at a very old age, but he continues to defy father time with what he's been able to do. He's 39th all-time in sacks. So not quite top 20, but 39th. That's pretty damn good. And then at number 8, can I interest you in Kareem Hunt? This has been a player that I know Eagles fans have been high on for a really, really long time because of the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield and run it. Last year, seldom used just because Nick Chubb has emerged as one of the best backs in the NFL. 123 carries, 468 yards, 210 receiving yards, so he's certainly capable through the air, and an average yards per carry of 3.8 and 4 total touchdowns. I think that Hunt can play. I think he still has some gas left in the tank. I think he's just going to go to a team that is in need for a running back late. Obviously, character concerns there with Kareem Hunt as well. So which of these 8 free agents would you like the Eagles to sign the most? You can let me know down in the comments section right now, and we'll let you know about a great deal here on the show. Thanks to our friends at Fanatics. This Eagles shirt, get geared up like I am right now with this Eagles t-shirt, chatsports.com/Eagles tee. That'll take you to the promised land right there. Only $14. That link is down in the comment section and in the description of this video. We'll run through some of your questions as well as your super chats as well. Greg Terrell, this show is the best John out there. #real1. Greg, thank you so much, my guy. Prayerman 2009, Fly Eagles Fly to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. Great job, guys. Viva Las Vegas. Beer cheers to both of you, by the way. David Marcella, $10 super chat. What's up, Pocket Rockets? That's hilarious because some people like to call us the Pocket Aces, Chase and Trace. I'm loving the Eagles flag that I won on draft night. It's hanging on my wall. Loving Nakobe Dean's progression. And I think DeAndre Swift is a great addition to the team. Shot time, boys. Cheers for you, David Marcel. And then Greg Terrell with another one. just because he is a hashtag real one. You are indeed a real one. Everybody watching right now supporting the show is also a real one. Past. I also look for Terrell Edmunds to have a great season too. Is Derek Barnett healthy? I think that Edmunds can play well in this defense. Sometimes it's about scheme fit. And as a first-round pick with Pittsburgh, didn't necessarily live up to the billing. But I think that this defense has more talent, and maybe he can be a better scheme fit. I think he can be solid on that back end, especially as a value play. And then Derek Barnett, he was on the sideline during Eagles OTAs, taking part of some workouts, but not like some of the scrimmage stuff. So he tore his ACL week 1, so he's probably going to be on the field for training camp or at least a little bit after. For those of you watching right now, you can meet me on Tuesday. I'm headed to the Philadelphia Phillies game. If you're going, let me know. You can hit me up, Twitter, Instagram, at Chase_Senior. Probably going to be tailgate prior to the game. So if you want to take down some beers with yours truly, make sure you slide in the DMs. Phillies playing the Atlanta Braves on that Tuesday. So appreciate all of you for watching. This has been a Philadelphia Eagles Now masterpiece of a mailbag. The doggy duo right before the buzzer on our live show. Happy birthday to Coach Nick Sirianni. Yes, Coach Nick Sirianni on this Thursday, June 15th upon this recording. It is his birthday today, an elite coach in the National Football League. All right. 4 segments down. It's clockwork right there. Clockwork. Our Super Chat menu, last call for Super Chats. We're not going to do an Eagles Now happy hour today because we're trying to go watch Shohei Ohtani pitch tonight against the Rangers because we're based in Dallas. So, get your Super Chats in. 2-minute warning before we sign off. 2-minute warning if you want to send in a tip. $5 beer cheers, $10 Eagles chant, $20 we'll pour up some shots. $50 for a beer bong, $100 for a shotgun. That right there, our Super Chat menu before we hop on out of here. Thanks to everybody for your support today. As always, Philly, Philly. Inside these 2 minutes, too, you can send in any questions. Ask us anything. We'll answer it here in the comment section. What do y'all think? Ask us anything before we hop on out. A lot of good stuff today. I enjoyed the content. Hope you did as well. We're up to $33 in supers. We get to 100, I'll shotgun. David Marcella, you both should come to the New England game with me. That would be a blast, man. The only thing is, we'll be live doing our watch party here, man. We'll be doing our watch party, and such a great opportunity to grow the channel and make some money for the channel. Nick Stone, I read somewhere earlier, Penny could be cut. Do you think that'll happen? If he doesn't perform and he's injured again, yeah. There's like $500,000 guaranteed on his contract. Brian, great show, guys. Salute to you. Alvin Simpson, what's the deal with Trey Sermon? Still on this roster. Could compete for a roster spot. If Penny is banged up, like he could be that physical back that takes his spot. Do a live stream from the game, David. See, the thing is, I don't think we could get internet service at the game. Otherwise, that would be ideal and awesome. Yeah, exactly. We could do it in the parking lot. That'd be fun. Greg Terrell. He beats the horn. 10 seconds left on our 2-minute shot clock. Get a Super Chat in if you want. Greg Terrell, our Super Chat MVP today. Great show, Pocket Aces. We appreciate you, my Brody. We're so grateful for everybody being here. We're not worthy. We're not worthy. So we're going to sign off here on Eagles Now. Time to go watch Shohei Ohtani on the bump tonight for the Los Angeles Angels against the Texas Rangers. 4 segments in the canister today. Hope you all enjoyed the content. Keep it locked here on Eagles Now for videos daily, year-round, talking birds because that's what we do. EAGLES. Philly, Philly, we out.